Welcome back to the channel The Coin Empire. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that turns an ordinary pocket change coin into a jaw-dropping treasure allegedly worth up to $75 million. Yes, you heard that right. We are talking about the 2002 P5-cent coin, a coin that millions of people have handled without a second thought. Yet under the right circumstances, with the right combination of errors, mistakes, and rare minting anomalies, this simple nickel can become one of the most valuable coins ever imagined. And in this video we are going to explore exactly what makes this coin so extraordinary, what kind of errors collectors are hunting for, and how such a small piece of metal can carry such an enormous price tag. So let's get straight into it, because this is something you absolutely do not want to miss. Now, the 2002 P5-cent coin was minted in Philadelphia, which is what the P mint mark represents, and while millions of these coins were produced as part of regular circulation, not all coins are created equal, and sometimes during the minting process things go wrong in ways that actually increase a coin's value instead of decreasing it. And this is where the magic begins, because collectors are not looking for perfect coins alone, they are also searching for imperfections that are rare, unusual, and visually striking. One of the most significant errors that can turn a 2002 P nickel into a potential multi-million-dollar collectible is the presence of a dramatic double die error. This occurs when the coin die itself is improperly manufactured, causing the design elements such as the date, lettering, or even the portrait to appear doubled, and when this doubling is strong and clearly visible without magnification, it can significantly increase the desirability of the coin, especially if only a handful of such error coins exist. Another major factor that can drive the value sky high is an off-center strike, which happens when the blank coin planchet is not properly aligned during the striking process, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing and the rest is shifted to one side. And while minor off-center strikes are relatively common, a dramatic off-center strike combined with a full visible date is extremely rare and highly sought after, making it a prime candidate for extreme valuations. But the story does not end there, because another rare and fascinating error involves wrong planchet strikes, where a nickel is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal composition. Imagine a 2002 P nickel being struck on a copper penny planchet, or a foreign coin blank. This kind of error is incredibly rare and can fetch astonishing prices among collectors who value uniqueness above all else. And then we have die cracks and cut errors, which occur when the coin die begins to deteriorate or break apart, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. And while minor die cracks are common, large and dramatic cuts that obscure part of the design are rare and can make a coin stand out in a major way, adding to its potential value. Now let's talk about the importance of condition, because even the rarest error coin can lose value if it is heavily worn or damaged. Collectors place a huge emphasis on coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and retain their original luster. A 2002 P nickel with a major error and pristine condition is the kind of combination that can send collectors into a frenzy. And when multiple rare factors come together in a single coin, such as a double die error combined with an off-center strike and exceptional preservation, that is when the theoretical value can skyrocket into the millions, even reaching the rumored $75 million mark under the right circumstances. Now you might be wondering how such a value is even possible, and the answer lies in rarity, demand, and the psychology of collectors, because when a coin is truly one of a kind or nearly so, it becomes more than just a piece of currency. It becomes a historical artifact, a conversation piece, and a status symbol, and wealthy collectors are often willing to pay enormous sums to own something that no one else can have. And that is exactly what drives these extreme valuations. Another interesting aspect to consider is the role of grading services. Professional coin grading companies authenticate and assign a grade to coins based on their condition and quality, and having a coin certified by a reputable grading service can significantly increase its value and credibility, especially in high-end auctions where buyers demand assurance that the coin is genuine and accurately described. And speaking of auctions, this is where record-breaking sales often occur, when two or more determined collectors compete for a rare piece. the bidding can escalate quickly, sometimes reaching levels that seem almost unbelievable, and that is how a coin that once sat unnoticed in someone's pocket can suddenly become worth millions. Now let's not forget the possibility of undiscovered treasures, because coins like the 2002p nickel are still out there in circulation, tucked away in jars, drawers, and forgotten collections, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for, and that is why it is so important to pay attention to your change, because you never know when you might come across a hidden gem. So what should you be looking for specifically? Keep an eye out for unusual doubling in the lettering or portrait. Check for misaligned designs that indicate an off-center strike. Examine the coin's edges and surface for signs of being struck on the wrong planchet. And look for any unusual raised areas that could indicate a die crack or cut error. And most importantly, preserve the coin's condition by handling it carefully and storing it properly if you suspect it might be valuable, because even a small scratch can make a big difference in the world of coin collecting. And while the idea of a $75 million nickel might sound unbelievable, it serves as a powerful reminder that value is not always determined by face value, but by rarity, history, and the stories behind the objects we often take for granted. So the next time you receive a handful of change, take a moment to look a little closer, because hidden among those ordinary coins could be something truly extraordinary. And that is what makes coin collecting such an exciting and rewarding hobby: the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, and the chance to hold a piece of history in your hand. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe one day you will be the one who uncovers the next $1 million coin right in your own pocket. Next, 2003p 5-cent coin. Today we are uncovering a story that sounds almost impossible yet continues to capture the imagination of collectors all over the world. A story about a simple everyday coin that could potentially be worth up to $70 million. And yes, we are talking about the 2003p 5-cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks completely ordinary. Something you might ignore in your pocket or spend without a second thought. But hidden within a tiny number of these coins are rare minting errors and unusual characteristics that can transform them into treasures beyond belief. And in this deep dive we are going to explore every angle of what makes this coin so valuable, from the minting process to the rare errors, from collector demand to the mystery and excitement that surrounds these pieces. Because understanding the full picture is what turns curiosity into opportunity. Now, the 2003p 5-cent coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the P Mint mark on the coin. And millions upon millions of these nickels were produced for everyday use. But like any large-scale manufacturing process, coin production is not perfect, and sometimes mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, those mistakes are not flaws but opportunities, because they create uniqueness, and uniqueness is what collectors chase. One of the most talked about errors that can dramatically increase the value of a 2003p nickel is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during its creation, resulting in a design that appears doubled on the final coin. And when this doubling is strong and visible to the naked eye, especially in areas like the date, the word liberty, or the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, it becomes extremely desirable, and the rarer the doubling, the higher the potential value. But doubling alone is not enough to reach the kind of extreme valuation we are talking about. What truly elevates a coin into the multi-million-dollar category is the combination of multiple rare errors in a single piece. For example, imagine a 2003p nickel that not only has a strong double die but is also struck off-center. An off-center strike happens when the coin blank is not properly positioned during the striking process, resulting in a design that is shifted and incomplete. And while small off-center errors are somewhat common, a large off-center strike that still shows the full date is extremely rare and highly collectible. Now add another layer of rarity such as a wrong planchet error, where the coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even another country. This creates a coin with the wrong size, weight, or metal composition, and such errors are incredibly scarce, making them highly sought after by advanced collectors. And when you combine a wrong planchet with a double die and an off-center strike, you start to see how the value can escalate dramatically. But we are still not done, because there are even more factors that can contribute to the value of a 2003p nickel. Die cracks and cut errors are another category of minting mistakes that can add uniqueness to a coin. Die cracks occur when the die develops small fractures, leaving raised lines on the coin, while cut errors are more dramatic, resulting from pieces of the die breaking off and leaving large raised blobs on the coin's surface. And while minor die cracks are common, large and visually striking cuts are rare and can make a coin stand out in a major way. Another fascinating error is the clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin blank is missing before it is struck, resulting in a coin with a curved or straight missing section, and depending on the size and location of the clip, this can significantly increase the coin's appeal to collectors. And then there are strike-through errors, where foreign materials such as grease, dust, or debris gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving unusual impressions or missing details on the coin. And while some strike-through errors are subtle, others can be dramatic and visually interesting, adding to the coin's uniqueness. Now let's talk about condition because it plays a massive role in determining value. Even the rarest error coin can lose a significant portion of its value if it is worn or damaged. Collectors look for coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of circulation, wear, and retain their original luster. A 2003 nickel with multiple rare errors and a high-grade condition is the kind of coin that can command extraordinary prices, especially if it is certified by a professional grading service. Grading companies evaluate coins based on their condition and assign them a grade, and having a coin graded and authenticated adds credibility and can significantly increase its market value, especially in high-end auctions where buyers demand assurance. And speaking of auctions, this is where some of the most incredible sales happen. When two or more collectors compete for a rare coin, the bidding can escalate quickly, sometimes reaching levels that seem almost unbelievable. And this is where the idea of a $70 million nickel comes into play, because when a coin is truly unique, or nearly so, it becomes more than just a collectible, it becomes a symbol of rarity and prestige. And wealthy collectors are often willing to pay enormous sums to own something that no one else can have. Now you might be wondering how realistic such a valuation is, and the truth is that while extremely high values are rare and often depend on specific circumstances, the underlying principle is very real. Rarity combined with demand can create astonishing prices, and the more unique the coin, the higher the potential value. Another important factor is historical significance. Coins that tell a story or represent a unique moment in minting history are often more valuable, and error coins fall into this category because they provide insight into the minting process and the rare occasions when things go wrong, and that adds an extra layer of interest for collectors. Now let's consider the possibility that coins like this are still out there waiting to be discovered, because the reality is that many error coins go unnoticed. They enter circulation and are spent like any other coin, and unless someone takes the time to examine them closely, they may never be recognized for what they are. And that is why coin collecting is often described as a treasure hunt, because you never know what you might find in your pocket change. So what should you be looking for if you want to identify a potentially valuable 2003 nickel? Start by examining the coin under good lighting and look for any signs of doubling in the design. Check the alignment of the design to see if it is off-center. Weigh the coin if possible to see if it matches the standard weight, or if it might be struck on a different planchet. Inspect the edges and surface for any unusual features such as clips, cracks, or raised areas. And if you find something that looks unusual, do not clean the coin or attempt to alter it in any way, because that can reduce its value. Instead, store it safely and consider having it evaluated by a professional, because even a small detail can make a big difference. Now, beyond the technical aspects, there is also the emotional and psychological side of coin collecting, the thrill of finding something rare, the excitement of learning about its history, and the satisfaction of owning a unique piece. And that is what keeps collectors engaged and passionate about the hobby. And when you combine that passion with the possibility of financial gain, it creates a powerful that drives the market. And that is why stories like the 2003 nickel continue to capture attention, because they remind us that extraordinary value can be hidden in ordinary objects, and that sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest impact. So the next time you come across a 5-cent coin, do not dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look, because you might be holding something far more valuable than you realize. And even if you do not find $1 million coin, you will still gain a deeper appreciation for the craftsmanship and history behind these everyday items, and that is a reward in itself. But who knows, maybe one day you will be the person who discovers a rare 2003p nickel with a combination of errors so unique that it becomes the centerpiece of a major auction and captures the attention of collectors around the world. And that possibility is what makes this journey so exciting. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing, because in the world of coin collecting anything is possible, and your next discovery could change everything. Last 1997 5-cent coin. Today we are stepping into another unbelievable yet fascinating story from the world of coin collecting, a story that proves once again that even the smallest and most ordinary-looking coins can carry extraordinary secrets. And in today's deep exploration we are talking about the 1997 5-cent coin, a simple nickel that most people would never think twice about. Yet under the right circumstances and with the right combination of rare minting errors and unusual features, this coin has been associated with an astonishing value of up to $68 million. And while that number might sound impossible at first, by the time you reach the end of this journey you will understand exactly how such a valuation can be imagined and what makes this coin so incredibly special in the eyes of collectors. Now, the 1997 D nickel was minted in Denver, which is indicated by the D mint mark on the coin, and millions of these coins were produced for circulation across the United States, making them extremely common in everyday use. But as with any mass production process, the creation of coins is not always perfect, and it is within those imperfections that the real magic begins, because collectors are constantly searching for coins that stand out, coins that tell a story of something going wrong during the minting process, and when those errors are rare, dramatic, and visually distinct, they can transform an ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. One of the most important types of errors that can be found on a 1997 D nickel is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly aligned during its creation, resulting in a design that appears doubled on the finished coin, and this doubling can sometimes be seen in the date, the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," or even in the portrait of Thomas Jefferson. And when the doubling is strong and clearly visible without magnification, it becomes extremely desirable among collectors because it is both rare and easy to identify. But doubling is just the beginning, because what truly elevates a coin into the realm of extreme value is the presence of multiple errors combined in a single piece. Imagine a 1997 D nickel that not only features a strong doubled die but is also struck off-center. An off-center strike happens when the coin blank is not properly positioned during the striking process, causing the design to be shifted and partially missing. And while minor off-center strikes are relatively common, a major off-center strike that still retains a visible date is incredibly rare and highly sought after. Now take that same coin and imagine it being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank used for the coin was intended for a different denomination or even a different type of coin altogether. This could result in a nickel that has an unusual color, weight, or size. And such errors are extremely rare because of the strict quality control processes at the mint. But when they do occur, they create coins that are truly one of a kind, and that level of uniqueness is what drives collectors to pay extraordinary amounts of money. Another type of error that can add significant value to a 1997 D nickel is the presence of die cracks and cut errors. Die cracks occur when the die begins to develop fractures due to repeated use, leaving raised lines on the surface of the coin, while cut errors are more dramatic and occur when a piece of the die breaks off completely, leaving a large raised area on the coin where the design is missing. And while small die cracks are common and usually do not add much value, large and visually striking cuts can make a coin stand out and attract the attention of serious collectors. In addition to these errors, there are also clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin blank is missing before it is struck, resulting in a coin with a curved or straight edge that is not part of the original design. And depending on the size and location of the clip, this can add to the coin's uniqueness and desirability. Strike-through errors are another fascinating possibility. These occur when foreign materials such as grease, dust, or debris gets between the die and the planchet during the striking process, leaving unusual patterns or missing details on the coin. And while some strike-through errors are subtle, Others can be dramatic and visually interesting, making the coin more appealing to collectors who appreciate unusual features. Now, beyond the eras themselves, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. Collectors place a high premium on coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of wear from circulation and retain their original luster. A 1997 D nickel with multiple rare errors and a high-grade condition is the kind of coin that can generate intense interest and competition among collectors, especially if it is certified by a professional grading service. These grading services evaluate the coin's condition and authenticity, providing a level of trust and credibility that is essential in high-value transactions, and when such a coin appears at auction, it can attract attention from collectors around the world, leading to competitive bidding that can drive the price to extraordinary levels. Now, it is important to understand that the idea of a $68 million nickel is often based on the concept of a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and uniqueness, where a coin possesses multiple rare errors, is in exceptional condition, and is perhaps even one of a kind. In such a scenario, the value is not determined by the metal content or face value of the coin but by what a collector is willing to pay to own it, and in the world of high-end collectibles that number can reach astonishing heights. Another factor that contributes to the value of such coins is the story behind them. Coins that have an interesting history or that represent a rare moment in the minting process tend to attract more attention, and era coins are particularly appealing because they offer a glimpse into the complexities and occasional imperfections of coin production. They are tangible reminders that even in highly controlled environments mistakes can happen, and those mistakes can create something truly special. Now let's talk about the possibility of finding such a coin, because that is what makes this topic so exciting. The reality is that many era coins go unnoticed and enter circulation. They are used in everyday transactions and pass from hand to hand without anyone realizing their true value. And that means that even today there is a chance that a rare 1997 D nickel with valuable errors could be sitting in a jar of spare change, a wallet, or a coin collection waiting to be discovered. And that is why it is so important to pay attention to the coins you come across. Take a closer look at your change. Examine it under good lighting, and look for anything unusual such as doubling, misalignment, or strange marks, because even a small detail can be the key to identifying a valuable coin. And if you believe you have found something special, it is important to handle it carefully and avoid cleaning it, as cleaning can damage the coin and reduce its value. Instead, store it in a protective holder and consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. Now, beyond the financial aspect, there is also the joy of discovery and the appreciation of history that comes with coin collecting. Each coin tells a story, not just of its design and production but of the journey it has taken through time. And when you find a coin with unique errors, you are uncovering a piece of that story, something that connects you to a moment in history when something unexpected happened. And that is what makes coin collecting such a rewarding hobby. It combines the thrill of the hunt with the satisfaction of learning and the potential for incredible rewards. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the 1997 D5-cent coin, remember that value can be found in the most unexpected places. And sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Keep your eyes open, keep exploring. And never underestimate the coins in your pocket, because hidden among them could be something truly extraordinary, something that has the potential to change your perspective and maybe even your life. And that is the magic of coin collecting, where every coin has a story and every discovery holds the promise of something amazing.